we'd been in our house for about, 7 years, 6-7 years, and we outgrew it and decided that we wanted a bigger house. One day I was driving to work and listening to the radio, and a commercial came on for Nathan Clark.
Well, it was helpful because Nathan was always available for questions, and we had concerns because we were looking at a house and it needed repair, and he was able to answer all our questions, and it was a good experience.
Yeah, but not only that, Jason was able to get referrals through construction, and every question that we seemed to have, they either had someone, knew someone, were affiliated with someone, whereas the previous agent that we were working with, we wound up having to make calls on our own. We would sit and Google, we need information on this and we need information on that. When it came to working with Jason, it was always, well, if you have a question, call me and I'll get back to you with the answer. Oh, it's excellent. I mean, it was one of those where I had Jason's phone number and I also had the number to the office, and the emails. Because the email seems to go to everybody. When you send an email, it's to the group. So somebody always got back with an email or a phone call, and it was usually, fairly quick. They also had a weekly callback where somebody from the office would reach out to us once a week to say, hey, even if nothing was going on, just wanted to touch base with you, see how you guys were doing. We haven't heard anything yet, but we're still, waiting to hear, or they would call us with new information and say, this is where we are.
It makes you feel a lot better about the whole process because you know where you stand, so you're more comfortable and not as nervous about what's going on, where does everything stand.
The expertise, the attention, the communication for me was key. Because we didn't have a question that went unanswered, and we never felt like, they'll get back to us because, when they feel it's an important time to get back to us. We always felt like we were important. He was at an appointment in another town and we weren't supposed to meet, and then something came up with an issue with the town, and he left that meeting at night on a Friday, came to our house at almost 9 o'clock at night to sign some paperwork that had to be given to the town that, I'm sure anybody else would have said, well, I'll fax it to you, I'll wait till Monday, and they made sure we had it, and he had it out that night.
Well, we had the house on the market last year. We had quite a few people looking at it. No one made it in the office to us, and that kind of, we were surprised at that because we knew what type of a house we had. It was in very good shape. So when the contract expired at the end of the year, my son called. He says, why don't you contact Nathan Clark? We put the house on the market. 3 days later, we had an offer, and it sold for 97% of what we were asking for it. So we're very happy with that. Anytime I called Rebecca, who was our contact at Nathan Clark, always helpful, anytime we had a question, if she wasn't in the office, I would leave a message. She would always get back to me.
Oh, I think working with a team is better. There's more people helping you, and again, the communication with having a team behind you.
How easy the process was working with you. Even with the closing, we went to the closing we've never met the buyer, and we just went there. We introduced ourselves, and Rebecca was there also with us, and it was just an easy process. Everything about dealing with Nathan Clark is it's a real joy. So
one of the things at the closing We had been in our house for 45 years, so it was traumatic for us to sell the house. And when we went to the closing, we just connected with the buyer of the house, and I felt good about selling it to him because I felt that he and his family were going to take care of the house we had been in for so many years.
I decided to use the Nathan Clark team when I was trolling the internet, and I was looking around for a real estate agency. There was really comprehensive information on the site, and I put my name in, and I then got a response from one of the Nathan Clark team members who called me and was interested in setting up an appointment. I'm not really good with people who are a hard sell or someone that are particularly pushy, and I found our real estate agent to be very relaxed, very careful in how he was talking and making sure that we understood the process. We had never sold and bought a house in this particular way ever before. I think the best part of it was the communication from the team. If our agent wasn't contacting us, there was someone from the office contacting us to call us just to tell us what was going on, where our bid was going, what was the process, who was going to come to our house, and being really clear. They were also respectful of my family in making appointments and not being too intrusive on what we need to do as a family, but also show the house. So that was also, it was greatly appreciated. We were never having to chase after an agent or someone in the office for information. It was always coming to us first. And people were reaching out and making sure we understood what was going on really consistently. Most unique thing that happened with the Nathan Clark team was when we were, again, as many families, we had to sell our house in order to use that money in order to buy another house. And that's a really awkward period of how do you get a house empty in order to sell it, but also move in at the same time. What the Nathan Clark team did for us was we're able to arrange a rent back so that we were able to move into our new house prior to the closing. They actually reimbursed us for that rent back to the tune of $600, and that was way above what I was expecting. I was fully expecting to pay for that rent back. I was fully expecting that would be our responsibility, but the real estate agents and the team really worked on a deal and reimbursed us for that amount of money.
I contacted the Nathan Clark team when we were looking to sell our condo. If I ever had any questions, someone would call me back immediately. From the minute you walk into the office, you have an entire team that's working for you. We had an interested buyer. There were 6 or 7 condos in our neighborhood that were for sale. Nathan had the great idea to offer some furniture, which gave us a little bit of a, lead over the other condos that in the area that were for sale. It's little things like that Nathan Clark and his team do that really give you the edge and help move the entire process. I would tell them to absolutely, without a doubt, work with the Nathan Clark team. We sold our condo within 6 weeks for 98% of the asking price.
Our experience with working with the Nathan Clark team was it was awesome. I mean, we put our house on the market, and within 3 days, we had people coming in, giving us offers, and we ended up getting our full asking price within that time.
When we bought our first house, we were not pleased with our home inspector. Using the Nathan Clark team, they recommended a great home inspector for us, and we ended up having great results.
Yeah, no issues.
No issues.
Yeah, very pleased
I
with that.
recommend it.
I felt having a team work with us rather than one agent was it was very helpful because at one point our realtor Dawn had to leave and she got stuck in a storm, and I was able to get through to anybody I needed to. We had actually another realtor come and talk to us and showed us another house around that time.
Just that there was always somebody in contact with us, always somebody there if we had a question, any day, any time.
Yeah, and just the knowledge that they had through the whole process, you know, we really didn't have to do anything. I mean, every question was answered pretty quickly, and yeah, we were very pleased with that.
Mm-hmm.
My experience working with the Nathan Clark team is based on years of experience in knowing Nathan Clark and his family history of working with real estate. So I knew that when I was going to sell my mother's condo, that if I listed it with Nathan, he would find that right person and that right fit. I've bought and sold a lot of houses in my time, but I've never had that experience of having someone come and look at my property and then getting feedback immediately within a day or two. Anytime I called with a question, a concern, she immediately got back to me, got the information that I needed, and everybody's just so pleasant to work with. It really made selling my mother's home, which was kind of sad, it made it easy. There was a point where there were questions about dealing with the condo development itself and the rules and regulations of selling the condo in the development. And I have to say that the office people were not the easiest to deal with, but Dawn was able to get around that and to get the documentation that was necessary in order to close the deal. I don't know anybody who hasn't heard of the Nathan Clark team in Rhode Island. I absolutely trust that the Nathan Clark team had my best interest in mind. They were working for me and not for anyone else. And the experience and knowledge of the community and the market are second to none.